Hello, hi, and welcome to this episode of the Mandy Meyer podcast. As per usual, this is a podcast where we chat all about your health, your fitness, your fat loss, your health and fitness and fat loss goals, and how you can achieve those goals. And I know that working on achieving those goals for your health expedition, your fat loss expedition, no matter what expedition you are working on, I know it can get very, I want to say, what's the word? You can get very demotivated at certain periods. There's a lot of points within your health and fat loss expedition where you may feel as though you've hit a dip. Maybe you feel as though you just don't want to do something. Maybe you just feel you are lacking that motivation. So how the fuck are you going to actually achieve those goals if you're just not motivated to do it 100% of the time? And that's exactly what I'm going to chat about in today's episode of this podcast. And I know you're probably thinking, oh, but Mandy, you always speaking about motivation or how to stay motivated or how to smash those goals even when you don't feel like smashing those goals. And the reason why I chat about it so much is because it's so bloody important, because everyone always thinks that you going to be 100% motivated all the time. And everyone always waits till they're motivated to start something new or to actually execute actions and behaviors that are in line with their health and fat loss expedition. And I want to use this episode, as I have done with many different episodes, to let you know that you mustn't start only when you're motivated. Like, don't wait until you're motivated to do something, because motivation is like Cape Town's weather. It's a shit show. It's all over the place. And relying on motivation in your health and fat loss expedition or any expedition that you're working on is like us Cape Townians relying on a weather app to tell us what the weather is going to do in Cape Town. It ain't going to happen, because Cape Town is like I said, all over the place with its weather. Okay. So here's the thing. You're not always going to be motivated. You need to put on your big girl panties or put on your big boy pants or whatever you want to call them. And even on the days where you don't want to do the things that you know you have to do, you have to get that shit done. Okay, especially if you want to achieve your goals. So number one, when it comes to lacking motivation, the first thing I want you to do is to accept and acknowledge the fact that you are not always going to be 100% motivated. Anyone that says to you they are 100% motivated every single day, we can just call them Pinocchio from now onwards, because they're lying, they're talking shit. There's days, lots of days, many days where I wake up and I'm not exceptionally motivated to do what I do, but I show up and I do it because I know that it has to get done. But let's chat about how you can, I don't necessarily want to use the word stay motivated, because like I just mentioned in this 3-minute intro, it's very difficult to be motivated the entire time. So how are you going to stay on top of things even when you are not motivated? Let's chat about that. Number one, set clear and achievable goals. There's no other way around it, because what most people do is you want to tackle everything now. You want to lose those 40 kilograms today, within one day. You're setting unrealistic targets for yourself, whether that's unrealistic step targets, whether that's unrealistic calorie targets, it's just too low to adhere to. You need to set clear and realistic little goals and little targets for yourself. Because what is the first thing that happens when you have set unrealistic targets? You don't achieve them. And then what happens? You get upset. And then what happens? Then all of a sudden you're not motivated to do shit. Okay, so if your goals are clear and they are achievable and you're ticking those boxes every single day, guess what that is going to do? That is going to drive your motivation. Okay, so again, action drives motivation. Many people think it's the other way around. Many people think, oh, I'm going to be motivated and then I'm going to action things. No, sister. No, brother. You need to action things and then motivation follows. Number two, track your progress. And now by progress, I don't necessarily mean that number on the scale. Yes, track that as well, but track your progress in all areas, especially in your performance. And what do I mean by that? I mean in the amount of time that it takes you to walk let's say a 3 kilometer walk today. In a month's time, do a time trial and check how long it takes you to walk 3 kilometers. Do a plank right now, and if you can plank for 15 seconds, in a month's time, do a plank and check how long you can plank for. That is performance, and that is measuring progress within your performance. That is not a scale-based way of measuring progress. And that is going to be the thing that is also going to drive your motivation, because you're going to realize that all the changes that you are making is adding to you becoming fitter, you becoming stronger, and essentially at the end of the day, that's because you are making healthier choices and healthier changes. If that is not fucking motivating, then I don't know what is. Number 3, surround yourself with positivity. Okay, now this can look different or for every single one of you. By, when I say surround yourself with positivity, for me, what really works is I do a little morning sort of routine of listing down a couple of things that I am grateful for. So a list of gratitude, if you will. And immediately that helps boost my mindset for the day to more of a positive mindset. And when I am in a positive mindset, that's often when I am a little bit more motivated, right? But if you're going to wake up every single morning and you're going to tell yourself, I can't do this, or you're surrounded by people that are bringing you down as well, my goodness, it's going to be very difficult to stay motivated, right? So again, like I said, you want to surround yourself with positive. How that looks for you as an individual, I cannot tell you. But again, like I said, for me, what works is obviously I surround myself with people that support me and that care about what I do. And obviously I give that back to them. And in the morning, every single morning, I make a list of things that I'm grateful for. And in the evening, I make a list of things that I did well throughout the day. Of course, I also focus on things that maybe I can tweak and change. But like I said, I like looking at the positives as well and looking at all the amazing things that I have done. Because oftentimes I will see people say, I'm not getting anywhere and I haven't done this and this is not getting done. And that is what actually demotivates you as well, because you're focusing on the negatives. You're focusing on the things that you are not doing, okay? Focus on the things that you are doing and figure out a way to maybe start doing the things that you are not necessarily doing. But don't fixate and focus fully on everything that you are not yet ready to do. Focus on the things that you are doing, the amazing things, the amazing boxes that you are ticking. That's also going to boost that mindset to more of a positive mindset, okay? And again, where does that go back to? That goes back to you maybe being a little bit more motivated or having a little bit more oomph to actually go and tackle the day. Number 4, reward yourself. Okay, now I don't necessarily mean reward yourself with food if health and fat loss is your goal. What I mean is reward yourself with a hot bubble bath. Reward yourself with that plant that you've been eyeing out at your local nursery for a long period of time. Reward yourself with a book. Reward yourself with some me time. Maybe go for a massage. Whatever tickles your fancy. Reward yourself with that, whether it's once a month, whether it is when you've hit a personal best within the gym, whether it is when you do that time trial for that 3 kilometer walk that I was speaking about. Just give yourself some credit for the amazing things that you're doing. And it goes back to my previous point where oftentimes people just focus on the negatives of what they are not doing. But if you set up a reward system for yourself, it forces you to focus on the positives that you are doing. It forces you to do those little time trials. It forces you to realize how far you are already from when you first started. So again, work on a reward-based system for yourself, whether it is buying that new pair of sunglasses that you've been eyeing out for ages, or maybe it is just going on a date night with your husband or your wife, or whatever it is, partner, whoever, whatever. Maybe it's adopting a pet. I don't know. Reward yourself with something for the amazing work that you are doing. And then lastly, number 5, this is the difficult one, is stay consistent even on the days where you are not motivated. So even on the days where you don't want to action anything and you just don't want to do your non-negotiables, tweak those non-negotiables to a point that they seem doable. Okay, so let's say, for example, you are super low mooded, you are super tired, you're fatigued, you just cannot foresee yourself hitting 8,000 steps, which would be, say, your step goal, for example. Now, instead of absolutely just throwing that non-negotiable out the window and not doing anything at all, can you potentially tweak that non-negotiable to something that seems more doable? So maybe to 4,000 steps, because then you still getting your steps in, you're still ticking that box, and it was a very intentional tweak that you made because of the way that you were feeling. So instead of totally scrapping all your non-negotiables because you are not motivated to do them, can you potentially tweak them on that day where the motivation levels are 0? Because a tweaked non-negotiable is a non-negotiable that you're most likely going to do. And that's how you're going to create that consistency. So like I said in the beginning of this episode, action drives motivation. You can either sit back and wait for motivation to fall into your lap. It's not going to happen. It is really not going to happen. And I say that from a place of love, because everyone's waiting for the right time. They wait until they feel like, oh, now I'm motivated to do it. But again, you know, a lot of the times it's just not going to happen. You really need to action things. You need to get that power of momentum going. You need to create that consistency. And like I discussed in these last 5 points on this episode, all of these things play a major role in how you show up every single day. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you like I usually do. Keep smiling, keep laughing, and keep being kind to one another. Much love, your friend who also isn't always motivated, but tries to get shit done, Mandy.